All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another session of Obsidian Office Hours, where we look at all things Obsidian and then anything tangential to Obsidian, which often tends to lead into the note-taking, productivity kind of realm. And so for today, I know we're a little bit earlier than usual, but as I'm trying to stabilize my schedule, again, my key thing for the last, last few weeks basically has been just about like getting in the habit of just getting on, even though I don't, even though it's not as consistent as I'd like, it's not as perfect as I want. Progress over perfection is the big thing, big theme, I think, of this particular month. So I'm looking forward to introducing more stability over time. So as people are looking for the live stream schedule, that kind of stuff, just know that that is very heavily on my mind. So we'll get that fixed up in due time. But with that said, let's kind of jump right into it because today we'll have because today what we want to talk about is a plugin that I'd come across recently in Obsidian called Obsidian Projects. And so the general problem we have, I think, generally when it comes to using Obsidian is typically we talk about notes and that kind of stuff, but task management is a big part of people's lives. And naturally, with something like Obsidian, people eventually want to figure out how to manage tasks inside of there, right? But then on top of tasks, then the question obviously then goes to what happens when things get bigger than tasks? What about projects? And so I'm really excited to kind of take a look at that today and kind of do a first look at Obsidian Projects. So without further ado, let's jump right in. All right, let's see. Let me change this a little bit. Okay, great. All right, so once again, let's sort of open up a sandbox note. So to go ahead and start off, we have simple task management here, where we can say, go to the grocery store, right? Pick up the following items. We say ramen, bento, sushi. Easy enough, simple checklist. Those are standard markdown checklists. Now, the problem with this, as I mentioned earlier when we in the introduction, is that going beyond this, right? What happens when you want to start really grouping tasks together? Clearly, there is some sort of hierarchy here, in that we have the ability to see like how tasks are indented, but in the big scope, in the big scheme of grouping things, that's where it gets a bit tricky. Hey, I see Jacob here in the chat. How's it going? So let's go ahead and take a look at Obsidian Projects. And so actually, before I do that, I will say what I did do at one point in an attempt, like this is prior to the plugin existing, is I was sort of creating notes that were designated as a specific project. So here you can see if I create a new project page template, you'll see, let's call this Japanese grocery trip, right? This project. You'll see that I had like an about, I had like a kind of template for the success criteria, what resources it would do. And I would like theoretically link the tasks that were available to it, but it was a bit of work. I had all these inline fields for like what type it was, status, and that kind of thing. But I'm curious what this means when brought into a plugin, because after all, while one of the things I love most about Obsidian is the fact that the data can be kept stored in like a plain text markdown file. This makes data easily accessible, but that doesn't mean that's how I want to manage my data, right? There's a reason we don't just use text editors to do everything, right? Graphical user interfaces have their benefits. So knowing that, let's go ahead and just kind of play around, or at least let's take a look at Obsidian Projects. I see, hey, I Belaya here in the chat. Hello, hello. All right, community plugins. Let's go. Projects. Here it is. All right. So, okay, this is from, yep, I think this is exactly the one I want. Here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. All right. So we can see here we have Obsidian Projects, plain text project planning in Obsidian. Great. As with anything, when we first get, oh wait, what is this? Oh, this is the reader plugin. I'm going to remove it for now so that it doesn't clog up this area. Can I refresh it? And then, nope, still there. Move from arc, remove. Okay, now it's gone. Fantastic. Okay, so as with any new project, we're going to go ahead and start by looking at the docs, right? I think that's like a fair shot. So we got a plugin. Okay, so create projects and folders from data view queries. So let's actually do a quick, let's actually take a quick look note as far as this goes. So let's see. Don't have a note for Obsidian Projects yet, so let's just create a note for that. And so things I'm interested in, just quick things that come to mind, is that there is clearly an integration with Obsidian Data View. And so you can see here I've tagged the Data View plugin directly because, well, after all, if we look at the local graph for later on, you'll see here that at least now we can see that these two things have a relationship. I do like the fact that there are different views, has different views. So it says table, board, calendar, gallery. We're going to actually take a look at probably all of those today, I would imagine. Calendar, board, and gallery. And then we can do note templates per project. Okay, that's aligned with what I was doing with my own project notes. Content manager, great. There's a discussion, installation, design philosophy, leave no trace, keep it native, stability over features, active issues, sure, contribute. Yep. Okay, there's a bunch of videos on it. That's great. Awesome. So, all right, now that we've got kind of like a high-level intro into it, looks like there are no like in-depth docs. So I think next we actually just dive right in. So let's go ahead and install the plugin. Projects, and then install. All right, successfully installed. Now we will enable it, and let's take a look at what options kind of come with it. So avoid accidentally loading too many notes. Increasing project size limit. Interesting what that really means. Front matter, quote strings if needed. Don't know what that means either. Commands, add commands for your favorite projects and views. Okay, but I don't see the interface here, so I'm guessing this is in beta. But anyways, okay, let's just see what we're gonna do. So my first gut instinct when working with any Obsidian plugin is to go for the basically the keyboard shortcut. So I open the command palette, kind of see what they have. So it looks like we have show projects. So let's go and show what we have. Okay, get started. It lets you manage groups of related nodes using front matter. For example, a folder with blog posts that you're working on. Okay, start from scratch or explore demo project. Let's see, piss next time. You can create our project using any of our ways. New projects view, you can do it there, you can do it there. Okay, let's try the demo project first. Oh, okay. Ooh, this is zoomed in quite a bit. Let's go ahead and let's see, let me make sure. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit actually for this particular view. Okay, cool. Pulling in all the tags. It has different weights. It has the ability to configure the field. Say what kind of data type that is. Okay, this is really nice. And then it has the number tag. Okay, can I sort? Let's see. Okay, the sorting is up here. Add another sort. So we can do name. We can do path. Add another sort from there where we can sort it by, let's say, weight. Although that's interesting, though. You would think that if the weight was turned on, it would 1, 2, 3, 4. So what if I delete it? 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. Oh, that makes sense. So it's only if it's the same thing. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Nope. So that's working as intended. So that's very Notion-like. Very happy. Color. Oh, okay. You can add different colors for different things. Or publish is not empty. Or let's see, is checked. Is not. Ooh, that's not what I want at all. Is checked. Oh wait, is published. Is not checked. And then this one I could do like red. And then checked here will say green. Okay, great. So cool. We saw that we have some color differentiation here. Some straight UI here. There is a curiosity of me. I'm curious. Although actually, what am I saying? I was kind of curious how they built this. And so if we projects, there we go. Look inside of here, we can check this out by checking out the package.json. And it looks like, my guess would be like Svelte. Yeah, that's not surprised. Okay, yep. I know a lot of Obsidian plugins are being built with Svelte. There's some pretty great kits for getting started with that. So kudos to them for getting that up and running. Okay, publish is good. You have a board to be able to drag between the two. Oh, that was unexpected. Filter, sort, include field, status, column width. You can actually specify widths. 500. Okay, there you go. Okay, interesting that you can be very specific about the width. Otherwise, default it collapses. Kind of interesting that the column though disappeared all of a sudden, because now I have to actually manually switch the status here. Oh, the status is a text too. That's interesting. I wonder if we could change status to something else, because when status is just text, it's hard to be consistent with that. Changing type isn't supported yet. Oh, autocomplete using predefined. Oh, this is what I want. I want predefined options. Backlog in progress, and then done. Enable rich text formatting. Let's see. Let's save that. So now I can do. Okay. So at least it does allow me to do some sort of autocomplete. So although obviously, or at least maybe it's just my. Actually, it might be my Zoom actually. Nope. So slight bug there when that happens, but that's totally fine. That is minor in the scheme of things. And we know this is open source, so it's in the process. Oh, cool. We have a gallery view, and then the images is coming from a URL. So I'm hoping that would be able to be actually linked to a local path. So that would be actually pretty curious. But this is nice, right? We can actually see when it's due. I am totally thinking that we want ways to style this, to be honest. So if this does become a part of my workflow, I would be curious then to kind of see. Let's see, demo project set as default, data source. Okay, tag versus data view. Oh, you can do it via data view. Interesting. Okay. So meaning, okay, so theoretically, let's do this. Let's create a new project. Okay, actually we had, oh, I didn't have it. Let's see. Learn Golang. This is my new project. All right. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Project, page template. And this will be learn Golang. That's like one of my, let's say that's one of my goals. If that is the case, we're going to call this a new project just to be to clearly delineate. And also I have no idea what kind of data is currently in my vault at the moment. So knowing that now, if I go to project to show projects, and then I edit the project. Okay, this time, let's learn this real quick. It looks like we're currently showing, okay, so it's notes that are actually included directly inside of here. So we said, actually, we just leave it as untitled. What happens here? Show projects. It actually doesn't show up, which is kind of interesting. Is it because there's there's a front matter here. I see. So therefore, we're saying that the front matter needs to match this. And then we'll say, ha, ha, ha. And then if we do that, show projects here. There you go. Now the untitled is coming up. Okay, so it's being defined via front matter. So I think it actually did mention that. Oh, commands. Ah, okay. So basically, as you create projects, they show up under commands. You can create shortcuts for said command. Okay, fair enough. I follow that. Quote strings. Oh, if needed, always. Okay, I know what this is now. The front matter here refers to quote strings. Basically, some strings inside of here, like this one, is a string, but it is currently basically just like plain text in terms of like there's no quotes wrapping around it. And so it's asking whether or not you want to force it to always wrap it in strings, which it's saying only if needed versus always. So that's really a preference thing. Clearly, this project size limit here, from what I gather, is the number of notes that is allowed to be within any given folder. Is kind of what my gut reaction is to that. So I'm curious now. Okay, I don't have a shift command P. So I'm actually going to go ahead. I actually think, from what I'm seeing, I got to say, though, I am liking what I see so far. So let's start by, it's easy to kind of do this early. Wait, I have a command with conflict. Where do I have a conflict? Looking for red. No. Where's my conflict? I don't see a conflict. Anyways. All right, so we have projects, and then we'll just show projects. I'll do command shift. Whoop, not that. We'll do projects. And then we're going to do command shift P is what we're going to do. Command shift P. Okay, that looks good. So now I'm going to do command shift P for projects. There you go. We're in my projects board. So now let's go ahead and actually create a new project where we'll say data view project. And we won't make it, let's make it the default. We'll source it from data view directly. So data view, okay. Status as status from type new project, like this, I guess. Location for new notes, default name for new notes, what template you choose for new notes, that's fine. Excluded notes. Okay, so we can create set project. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. It grabbed the thing. So if we go inside of learn Golang, so let's see. Let's split screen. Let's open this note up. Oh, this is fascinating. When I'm in the note, it actually can't show it. It doesn't seem to. Demo view, data view. Yeah, fascinating. It like did not like that. Like that. Weird glitch. Okay, so I think it's, oh, that's why. It's because I have too many. That's a broken thing in my template right now. Okay, so there you go. Status backlog. That's cool. So we can say here configure field. So we can't change it yet because it's a text. Options to define field. Sure. So can we add more? Oh, I think I see what I understand what that means now. That means that I can't. Okay, this is actually pretty good though. I am pretty happy with this because this means that if theoretically, if we keep to this tag, I guess. Hang on. Status as status. You can query stuff. Is it always going to assume it's text? Because what if I, let's see, this is the from. And then what if I also include the roadmap as roadmap like this? Will it know it's a link? No, it's a path. So it knows it's a path. Fascinating. Okay, and then we can add different views that have different things. Okay, this is pretty great, honestly. I actually don't think I have too, like, there are things I'd like to do, like, appearance-wise to make it, clean it up a bit so that it matches, like, either the typography that I'm currently using so that the theme is a little bit more on brand. But all in all, I gotta say, you can duplicate views. I mean, this is pretty good. So, I mean, clearly, let's see. Hey, Dragon Dust, how's it going? Okay. Okay. This leads me to think, what is the best way to do this? My first impression of this is that I already think there's going to be a lot of value for those who do want to organize their notes and thoughts and initiatives. So I think of this particularly from a life planning perspective. So if you're like sketching out your month, sketching out your year, it's nice to be able to see what projects you're working on, maybe broken down by month. Actually, I don't think grouping is here, so that's a missing feature. Not that it's a huge deal because you can always just theoretically create a bunch of views up here. So in this regard, for example, let's say, okay, so this table view, we could filter all of this down to say where publish date, oh no, due date, oh, it's just is not empty. Oh, okay. So the conditionals are a little bit more limiting than I thought. Because I was going to do is I don't say when the due date is like basically do some date comparisons. But don't get me wrong, that is, as someone who's written that code and has done that before, that is a bit to do. So it's kind of interesting. I guess I'm trying to think of the cleanest way to do that. Yeah, due date yeah, unfortunately you can't even do like, what would be a simple version of this in my mind is you would allow the user to filter, like you would convert whatever value it is regardless of its outcome, or regardless of its type, into, yeah, you'd want to turn it into like some sort of string. So at least you can be like, does it contain said string? Because then by that argument, to show you what I mean, we could convert all these due dates, right? Because it's not like I don't think we can configure the format. Yeah. So we can't be like, oh, it says June 20, like literally the word June 21st, 2023. So by this argument, there's nothing stopping, like if you can say that like includes the string 6/, although that would be a little limiting, right? Because that means any day that has 6/ would get included in there. So this does mean we're back to the regex bit of it. So again, this is why features are complicated, right? Because what you end up getting is there's a lot of different things that would feel innate and natural, but aren't really. So there, I can hide stuff again. So again, I like the fact that we can hide stuff here. We can say whatever's relevant here. Be like, okay, this is the one I have, which I do like. So in my mind, though, this does mean that if we're gonna try to be, I don't know, let's say, if you want to be more programmatic about how you're querying your projects, already I would say you're gonna need to do some data view manipulation. So in this regard, let's take a look at, let's see, we still have time. Good, we're still on time. Okay, so if we take a look at all these projects inside of here, we have tags Obsidian. Then in my mind, let's say we have a tag called, again, let's just call the tag new project. And we'll do that for all 4 of these, or 5 of these. So 1, 2, oh wait, did that not work? Nope, that did not work. How do I make this easy to cut and paste? I think I have to do it like this. There we go. 1, 2, yeah, that's clean. All right, so I can delete this random untitled, drop that. Okay, so we have all our demo projects here, which is good. I'm gonna close this. So now we're gonna go ahead and create a new project, and this time we're gonna say a folder data view combo. That's what we're doing here. Grouping it all under the photo, the project. Sure, let's set that as default. The source will be data view. And this is where we can say table status as status. But we're going to say from new project like this. So if we create this, you can see here all 5 are appearing as expected. So that did work. I'm very grateful for that. What's interesting, though, you'll notice is that all the fields are all of a sudden have disappeared, because it looks like the moment you use data view, you have to be very explicit about, let's see, so have to be specific about fields you're configuring. Okay, so again, pros and cons with that. It means you get a lot of control, but this also means you have to come in here and decide what's your basically how things are going to work. So again, for example, let's just keep it easy. The due date, this is what we're probably most interested in, at least in this current one. So in this regard, we would edit the project, and then inside of here, I think I would actually come up with a new, this is a new format I would do, because this would be really hard to read otherwise. So I think you add a comma here, then we can say due as due date, like this. And then we save it. There you go, due date does appear as expected. Okay, and now here's where it gets a little bit interesting. What we could, how would I want to do this? Yeah, you could have the different views of the same segment of data, but you can't do multiple views where you're like filtering it down, because that's what we were kind of proposing at first. Because I think file is not empty, status. Oh, interesting. Status is text, so it does have that contained. But because due date is automatically set to a date, it does not get any access to those primitives, and it's just empty or is empty, which I don't totally love. So, I mean, honestly, with this project bit already in my head, this makes actually my life a little bit easier, because I think this is how I probably want to manage some of my Obsidian, like sort of my live stream content going forward. So, I mean, for example, let's just do that right now. So if it's just like Obsidian office hours, that's what that would be. I was already thinking about doing this to some extent. So the fact that this would make this a little bit easier, which is pretty cool. So as status from type content, and then and Obsidian, no autocomplete in here. That's unfortunate. Office hours series, like that. So if we create this project, hey, look at this. Okay, this is pretty nice, because then I have my view from data view, which is ingesting it, but then I can start breaking up into it via topic. So I get like kind of a notion like editing experience, which is super cool. Then I'll also get to put in other things. I mean, yeah, this is basically, I think from this first impression, this is going into my will use frequently and probably a common way for me to manage things. The only thing I can imagine going forward is trying to debate whether or not there's value in creating a separate projects folder. So, I mean, if we look at, I really wish it would tell me which one's the conflict. This is a bit surprising. Signed by me? Oh, was that it? Here it is. Ooh, that red needs to be way bigger deal. Why is that red so bad? Modifier error. Yeah, I'd want, whoa, where's the modifier error? All right, anyways, theme things. So actually, let me make a note of that. So Obsidian Night Owl theme. To improve error contrast on, for now I'll just use a hotkey conflict. Error contrast, background color. Boom, just like that. Okay, great, we say that. Now we go back in. So yeah, it's interesting. It's saying my daily node has conflict. Who's it conflicting with? Oh, advanced tables. Yeah, yeah, toolbar. Yeah, no, that's going bye-bye. All right, there we go. That's good. Again, I wish the conflict would have been a little bit easier to find because it said that it found it. So it would have been like, which command is the one with the conflict? So, okay. So anyways, back to that. We have that. Create new project, create new note. What does that mean, create new note? So if I'm like, hey, I'm in my projects, create new project, create new note. Oh, inside of said project. So if I'm doing it inside of the folder data view combo and I'm like, bam, this is cool. Create. That's a little weird. Okay, threw this out here. Bam, this is cool. Did not get included in there. But was there anything that bam, this is cool got with it? Nope, did a base node template. Okay, so I'm a little confused on why you would create note this way then with projects. So that's a question that I have. Let's see. Questions. Why add note with project? However, though, new project, this one makes more sense because you're creating a new project. But the only thing, though, is that, oh, wait a second. Is it because you're trying to create a note? Create new note project. Okay, never mind. I might have actually reverse engineered it by accident. So if I new note, basically, if I create a new, where is it? Project, create new note. This one. If it is inside a demo project and then I go, this is my note, create. No, that didn't work either. Okay, my theory, which still might be true though, is that projects is trying to create a new project within that context. That's what it's trying to do. Now, the only problem is, if we look, okay, so that's not here. It's inside of here. Edit project, more settings. So when you create, oh, okay, here we go. Yep. So it's kind of interesting. You would, by default, you would put it, okay, actually, hang on. Before I say anything, let's go back to the demo project. I don't want to misstate anything. So inside of here, it already knows, okay, that's what I was going to say. It does put it in the folder, but the problem is that when you use data view, there is no folder that it's going to store it in. So that's why it's dropping it inside of my root directory, which makes sense because that's what's configured. The default name for new notes, interesting. And then you can add a specific template to it. So for instance, okay, in the instance of the demo project, oh, this is my note did appear. But it just doesn't have any of the fields. Let's see, demo project. Oh, aliases? this is my alias date. Can I select the date? Oh, I can't edit it. Oh, okay. This is okay. This is a calendar picker. That's at least nice. Although there is no time, so that is literally just a date. UUID. It has a hard time encoding that clearly. So when you go, this is my note. Cool. It updated the front matter. Okay, that's nice. Automatically appended it in. But let's just assume, however, we wanted to start fresh every time like this. Tags, wait, publish, false, date. Let's just do that. Status, backlog like this. We'll kick that out, drop this, and then we'll create a new template. We'll call it new project page template. And then there you go. And then I'll move it inside my templates directory. That's it. Now when we come inside of projects and we're looking at the demo project, let's make this the default since that's what I'm using right now. And then in the more subsettings though, we're going to add a specific template. And this is where we're going to do the new project template that we just had. And then that's it. I think that does it as a trick. Okay. Now, new project, new note. So it's funny, it's called projects new note, but in my mind, you're technically creating a project within a context. So it's kind of funny that's how it's being called. So anyway, so then we can, let's go back to our Japanese grocery store, create said note. And unfortunately though, it is not following the convention as predicted, because follow this through one more time. Inside of demo project, oh wait. Oh, it didn't work. New project page template. Yep. Save. All right, do this one more time just to make sure I got that right. Yep, there's a new project template. Okay, Japanese grocery store, whatever. Let's go ahead and add all right, we'll do new project. New note. Project new note. And this time we're going to go to the American grocery store. Create said note. Oh, the template is not selected by default. So then it went to my base notes, but I would do this. Oh, okay. That's a bit surprising to me only because once you've configured a templates to choose when you create new nodes. Okay, I would have expected a default one for this, given that the base node is a bit tricky. But okay, so then you can see here, American grocery store has been created. Japanese grocery store is here. But this is one thing I will say. Just looking at this though, it seems like there is a clear advantage to doing it the folder directory way, because the folder directory way just sort of respects. It respects anything that is inside of it, is what I'm trying to say. Like, or sorry, all the front matter, it just kind of automatically knows that those properties exist. So in the instance of, once again, like, this is my note, there was a UUID in these dates field. It was just kind of interesting. But I don't think it shows the dates here. Let's see. So it does have dates. Yeah, this is dates. Yeah, and so that's why dates is confusing, right? Because right now it thinks it doesn't realize it's an object. So it clearly only reads top level front matter, which I understand. But at the same time, I do think there comes a point where you want things to be a certain way. So it's interesting that, okay, the path here uses a project prefix to me. Oh, because the project's demo project, silly me. I thought it was like appending projects by itself. Okay, cool. Honestly, this is pretty great. I'll definitely, my plan is to basically, I think actually, I guess we can call this here, but this gives a high level impression of Obsidian Project, which I do think for any productivity task management guru, or not even guru, why did I even say that? as we can actually, why am I doing this? This is a wrap up. Okay, so cool. This is an overview of Obsidian Projects. Let's go ahead and switch over to the camera to kind of do like a wrap up. All right, so what we saw today here is we got to take a first look into Obsidian Projects. And honestly, what I've seen inside of here, super promising regarding its basic UI management of data, things that I might normally have to type otherwise manually. It kind of enhances the Obsidian data view abilities, because rather than having to write all these queries yourself manually, now you have the ability to do things a little bit more like as you would expect to in like a Notion-like environment, hiding fields, showing what you want. Especially if you're someone like me, when you're creating content or doing the live streams, it can be tricky to manage all that stuff manually. And so if I could just manage it inline on a table and then it would just update it appropriately, that would be pretty cool. Granted, I probably will push this thing to its absolute limits. But that said, as far as first impressions go, I definitely would put this in the recommended kit for any sort of productivity nerd. If you're looking into like task management, project management, this I think is the best solution I've seen thus far that helps to implement a sort of UI that helps to manage the markdown matter of your projects. So, I mean, I think that about does it. I mean, again, if you want to be sure to support the project, if you have any issues, things you want to help file, or more importantly, if you want to contribute to the code base, there are clearly opportunities for improvement on this regarding ways we can sort of enhance the experience for users. But again, I know that open source is a tricky thing for people if you are working on that. But, clearly opportunities are there. So, cool. With that said, thanks everyone for hanging out today. And I guess with that, if you want to check out the live stream schedule, again, don't forget to visit benkozen.io/schedule. And once again, we'll figure out how to get those regularly updated. I'm hoping to schedule out the next month so that it's a little bit more predictable and people can see what topics are there. But once again, this is a work in progress. So bear with me as I build up the infrastructure. But glad to have everyone here along for the ride and hope you enjoyed this discussion on Obsidian Projects. Hope you all have a great week and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.